The greatest king who ever lived stood at the edge of the world, staring across the waters of death. Gilgamesh, 2/3 god and 1/3 man, had slain monsters, built towering walls, and conquered every fear. Except one. Now death itself haunted him. He had come for the secret no mortal was meant to know: eternal life. And the only man who possessed it was waiting on the far shore. 4,000 years ago, between the Tigris and Euphrates, the land of Mesopotamia shimmered under a merciless sun. Cities of baked brick rose like monuments to human ambition. The air carried the scent of river mud, incense, and roasted barley. In the temples, priests offered sacrifices while the gods, capricious and powerful, watched from the heavens. This was the age of heroes, when the veil between mortal and divine was thin. And in the mighty city of Uruk, no one embodied that blurred line more than its king. Gilgamesh was unmatched in strength and beauty. He roamed the streets of Uruk like a wild bull, taking what he desired. The people cried out to the gods for relief. In answer, the gods created Enkidu, a wild man of the steppe, equal to Gilgamesh in power. What began as a savage duel became the deepest friendship ever known. Together, they slew the demon Humbaba in the cedar forest and rejected the advances of the goddess Ishtar. Their victories made them legends. But the gods do not forgive such pride for long. Enkidu fell ill and died. Gilgamesh watched his brother's body rot and felt the cold hand of mortality grip his own heart. He wept like a child. Then he rose with fire in his eyes. "I will not die like Enkidu," he declared. "I will find the one man the gods made immortal." Gilgamesh crossed burning deserts and mountain passes where lions roam. He battled the scorpion men who guard the edge of the world and sailed the dark waters of death in a boat made of stone. Exhaustion carved deep lines into his face, yet he pressed on. At last he reached the distant shore and stood before Utnapishtim, the faraway, the man who survived the great flood and was granted life without end. Gilgamesh demanded the secret. Utnapishtim looked at the weary king with ancient, sorrowful eyes and began to speak. "Gilgamesh," Utnapishtim said, his voice like wind over still water, "I will tell you what no mortal has heard. In the city of Shuruppak, the noise of mankind grew so loud it disturbed the sleep of the gods. Enlil, lord of the storm, convinced the divine council to destroy humanity with a flood. But Ea, the clever god who loved mankind, came to me in a dream. Through the reeds of my wall, he whispered, 'Tear down your house, build a boat, take the seed of all living things. The flood is coming.' I built a vessel vast as a field, with 7 decks and 9 compartments. I loaded my family, the artisans, the wild beasts, and every kind of seed. Then the skies turned black. The storm god Adad roared across the heavens. Lightning blazed as the Anunnaki gods themselves lifted their torches and set the world on fire. Rain fell like spears. The flood rose higher than the mountains. For 6 days and 7 nights, the deluge swallowed the earth. Even the gods grew terrified. They cowered like dogs at the gates of heaven. On the 7th day, silence fell. Utnapishtim opened a window. The world was gone. Mankind had turned to clay. The fields lay flat as a rooftop. He wept. Then he sent forth birds. The dove returned. The swallow returned. But the raven did not. It had found land. Utnapishtim offered sacrifice on the peak of Mount Nisir. The gods smelled the sweet savor and gathered like flies around the offering. Ishtar wept for the people she had helped destroy. Finally, Enlil boarded the boat, touched Utnapishtim and his wife upon the forehead, and declared, "From this day you shall be like us, immortal. Dwell forever at the mouth of the rivers." Gilgamesh listened in awe and bitter envy. He had found the survivor of the deluge, Yet the gift of endless life remained beyond his reach. The gods had granted immortality to only one man. Utnapishtim, taking pity, revealed one last secret, a plant at the bottom of the sea that could restore youth. Gilgamesh dove and claimed it. But on the journey home, a serpent stole the plant and shed its skin, renewed. Gilgamesh returned to Uruk empty-handed, yet forever changed. In the end, the mightiest hero of ancient times learned what every mortal must face. We cannot conquer death, but we can decide how we live before it claims us. The walls of Uruk still stood, monuments to human effort and glory. The story of the flood, carved into clay tablets, would travel across centuries, echoing in the tales of Noah, Deucalion, and many others. For the true immortality we seek is not endless years, but the stories we leave behind, the name we carve into the memory.